Hello, so here we are with the second of our interviews where we're focusing on the real heroes and champions of the town. Having lived here for well over 50 years, raised my family here, run my business here, I'm passionate about everything Faringdon and particularly the people in it. And today I'm with Als Sylvester. Hello, Al.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, really well. How are you?
Oh, I'm having a few moments away from the project that we're working on at the moment.
Excellent. So for anybody that doesn't know you, Al, you are currently spearheading the Faringdon Volunteer Group, aren't you? The COVID-19 group.
That's
so
right.
Give me the full name.
Okay, it's actually called Faringdon Viral Kindness, and it actually was conceived by a lovely gentleman called Sam Anderson just over 3 weeks ago, where Sam approached one of our county councillors and said, have we got any plans in place for what could possibly happen with the COVID-19? And I've got to say to Sam now, thank you. Your idea is now expanded beyond belief. Excuse me. So just over 3 weeks ago, a team of 6 volunteers got together and created over a period of 9. Oh, you okay?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Over a period of 9 days and working 14 hours a day, they created websites. They created Twitter pages. We had phones donated by Tesco. We have trained up call handlers, up to 12 call handlers who can take the calls in. But this is where the community...
Apologies for the calls that keep coming in this morning.
No, I'm sure. No worries. Yeah, so this is where the community of Faringdon came in, because we had a plan in place to get a leaflet put round to everybody's house, because we realised that the people who we really want to support are the vulnerable and elderly people, and also the people in self-isolation. Well, if they didn't have the internet, how would they gain contact with us? So we had some leaflets printed off, and teams of volunteers from Faringdon distributed just under 4,000 leaflets over the space of 2 days, which was phenomenal. But I'm going to say this now. I know you've introduced this as about champions and heroes, but for me right now, the heroes of Faringdon, it is the Faringdon Viral Kindness team. You imagine trying to establish a brand new business from scratch in 9 days.
Yeah.
And with incredible technical support. We've got 2 ladies working on the communications team. We've got now 12 call handlers, with another 4 call handlers being trained up this afternoon. And all that has been achieved in 9 days. So a week last Friday, we could go live and provide support to the people of Faringdon.
And that's an extraordinary team effort, isn't it?
Oh, they've been amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
But every good team needs a good leader, Al.
Okay.
And I think this is probably a good time for us to ask you a little bit about the man behind all of this. So tell us a bit about your background.
Okay, I originate in Grimsby, in Lincolnshire, the flatlands of the UK, and while I was in the scouting organisation, I got into mountaineering. That then led to going into the Royal Air Force as a communicator, but within a year of being in the communications team, I was not overly impressed. So I volunteered for the Royal Air Force Mountain Rescue Service. I went on to do over 2 decades. I was team leader at Leeming for the Yorkshire Dales, Yorkshire Moors and Lake District, but the height of the career was the team leader of Kinloss, which is the Highlands of Scotland, where we would respond to any call, primarily aircraft crashes. That was our bread and butter of what we did, but over 400 rescue operations throughout the whole of the UK and saving countless amounts of people. So I came out of the Royal Air Force in 2014, and I became an infants school teaching assistant. I worked as part of the team there, helping guys and girls who were just struggling a little bit with their reading and writing. And I probably put a different little slant on approach to how they should be doing things.
Was that in Faringdon or nearby?
Yeah, no, that was the Faringdon Infant School. An amazing challenge and an amazing time working with teachers and TAs who are, well, you talk about more heroes.
They do a great job, don't they?
Oh, they've got a gift. They have such a gift.
My son and daughter-in-law are both primary school teachers, so I take my hat off to them. A huge respect.
Very, very much so. And you go all the way up, and we've got it in town. We've got the Faringdon Community College.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a lot of friends who are working within the college there as well. I can only stand back and applaud what they do, you know. But I at the end of 2018, there was a vacancy where I could leave and stand down from my position as an interventions guy. And since the beginning of 2019, I'm now a motivational speaker. So I go out and share some of my experiences on Everest and Antarctica and walking Land's End to John O'Groats and mountain rescue, share it with school children and trying to inspire them, one, to get off that Xbox and the PlayStation first. But there's a massive world out there which is to be loved and enjoyed. Yeah. So that's where I fit into the community.
You've achieved some impressive expeditions, haven't you?
Yes, I've been very fortunate. I've been so fortunate to be, first of all, guided on some expeditions to the French Alps, and then to Kenya and going off to America, etc. But the big expedition was leading the RAF to the South Pole in 2006, unsupported. That was a life changer. It really was for many reasons. I've had the privilege of going to the Himalayas 5 times and taking groups of inexperienced people who have probably only been up, they've summited a Ben Nevis. Maybe it was in Helvellyn in the Lake District. And I've taken them to Everest Base Camp and Annapurna Base Camp. And I guess my personal one was when I left the Royal Air Force. I walked 881 miles unsupported between Land's End and John O'Groats. So.
That's incredible. Well, I take my hat off to you.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. Well you're clearly the right man to be at the head of this Viral Kindness group, aren't you? You've got a lot of logistical experience behind you.
Very much. I think when I was approached about could we take on the team and could we do help with the team, I've actually treated it like an aircraft crash.
Yeah.
Because when I was given the task by the Rescue Coordination Centre to respond to an aircraft crash or a missing person, I had the logistics, I had the manpower, I had the money, the transport, the procedures in place. And so when Sam, after having that original idea, all I've done is I've fallen back onto those procedures and said, right, where do we fit in with transport? Where do we fit in with logistics, money, and so forth? And that's why I'm reiterating, the team of 6 people put this, let's call it a company, this campaign together. It's outstanding. Those guys and girls are amazing.
Let's give them a shout out. Who are those 6?
Oh, I didn't want to mention names because if I forget somebody, it'd be terrible. But okay. At that one big, our technical support is Liz Swallow. She's also one of our county councillors. What she has provided on the net is to allow call handlers to take in telephone calls and then also update it while other people are taking in other calls, and this system works. It's incredible. You've also got Lucy Edwards and Jodie Brown, who are the comms specialists. They're everything and anything that happens within Faringdon. I live in Faringdon. I love Faringdon. They're monitoring all the time. It's always there. Jonathan Puttyfoot, he's my right-hand man. If I fall off the radar, because there's a point, anything that we've done, we've had to have a backup to make sure if I fell off the radar, could we have there? So Jonathan steps in for me constantly. And Bethia Thomas, she's led and headed all this, and the person who spoke to Sam so many weeks ago. It's I really hope I've not forgotten anybody now. That's it. But there's the team.
I'm sure they will forgive you, and we can always do a separate interview with them.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Oh, great. That's a lovely idea. That would be lovely.
Yeah, so anybody you've forgotten, just pop me an email, Alan.
Thank you. I promise I will, Sarah.
So tell me, what's your biggest challenge with the group at the moment? And you know, what is there something that surprised you?
I'll say it's a double-sided sword. When we pushed out the leaflets to everybody's house, we laid out what we could provide, and that was providing urgent supplies because they're of self-isolation or because they're vulnerable and elderly and in the bracket of being over 70 and possibly with a pre-existing medical condition. We have been doing an immense amount of prescription pickups, but the team created their own system. Originally, a week last Friday, one person was picking up another person's prescription and taking it back home and having to queue outside of Boots. Yeah. Kelly and Darren Parsons, they came on board as originally as call handlers, and they went, well, if Kelly, she collates all of the prescriptions for one day, and for example, on Friday, that was 20 prescriptions, and all of these people was needed. It wasn't just, oh, well, I'll just let them jump on the bandwagon, we'll do that. No, these people really needed our help. She emailed both James in London Street and Boots at 2:30, and by 4:30, Darren, her husband, goes and picks up 2 boxes and distributes them out throughout Faringdon. That means we're achieving our aim because we are just trying to support the National Health Service. Yes. We need to keep people off the streets. Yeah. So like Friday, we had one person, Darren, in his car distributing out to the people who would really need our support. Yes. And that means it's only, I'm saying only endangering Darren, but yeah. Darren he knows what he's doing. He keeps his 2-meter distance from everybody. So that has been an incredible system. But again, it's created by the team, and the team are making it work. The call handlers, there's 3 call handlers on right now. They've taken 175 calls in 12 days. That's phenomenal. And you say about what are the major challenges, it's that unknown, Sarah. Yeah. We think we know what we're going to receive, the question, but some of them have been quite obscure, and some of them are outside our remit. And having to be a military man, it's a yes or a no, or more to the point, where can we potentially help and maybe give you support in another means? But we're no means professionals. We are volunteers, and the guys are there doing this 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the evening, 7 days a week.
That's
all voluntary.
Just fantastic. And I think Faringdon as a town, I know they will be proud and extremely grateful for every volunteer, every person that's had a hand in pulling this together. And it just sounds so professional and so amazing what you're all doing, that, you know, I'm so pleased that we've got this opportunity for you to actually highlight how you've got to where you are today, and, you know, the number of people it's taken, you know, to achieve what you're achieving, which is a huge comfort blanket for the rest of Faringdon.
It is. Do you know, Sarah, the one group of people I've not even mentioned yet are people of Faringdon.
Yes.
195 people from Faringdon have been onto the website. They put their name into the system, and they're the people who my call handlers are calling. Yeah. And we've broken the town up into 26 areas. So to try and stick within the guidelines of what's been requested by the government, nobody should have to travel more than around 250 meters from their home. So as a volunteer comes up onto our spreadsheet, David Grant, who's one of our county councillors, he's a technical whiz kid. He actually, their name then appears in the group, in that zone of where people are, and it saves us from having to find a volunteer from a different area.
You're seeing the best of the people of Faringdon, aren't you, at this time?
I am so lucky.
Yeah. What brought you to the town? Was it work that actually brought you to Faringdon?
Well, I was stationed at RAF High Wycombe, with the headquarters of the Royal Air Force, And I actually had a blind date with who is now my wife, Claire.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, my best friend, Dean Singleton. He was living in Swindon, invited me over for the weekend. I was living in the block, as you do as a Singleton. And I went through the Dean's for an evening, and this lady, Claire, arrived, and that was 16 years ago. So with Claire living in Swindon, me living in High Wycombe, and I was doing a lot of work on the road for the Royal Air Force. The natural place was to find somewhere in between. And what struck it was Faringdon. We went, oh, this is lovely. Yeah. And it took us a few months to find the house, but perfect. You know, so yeah, thank you, Faringdon.
Brilliant. Yes. No, I mean, I've got Faringdon running through my blood. I think I've been here so long, but it's an extraordinary community and an extraordinary town, and I think we're privileged to live here.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm 54. I lived in Grimsby for those 17 years before I joined the Royal Air Force. I'm only 2 years away from living in a place longest. You know, in the Royal Air, you only stay 3 or 4 years at one station, and you move on somewhere else.
Fantastic.
So stability.
So if I had to say to you, describe Faringdon in one word, could you do that?
Yeah. Do you know what? Resilient. I'm going to use the word resilient, and I'm not just saying that because of the current climate of what's going on, but I've seen over a few years. A couple of years ago, there's a child went missing, and within an hour, just using the Facebook page, there was people coming out of different houses and around the town saying, how can we help you find this young kid? And thankfully we did. It was a great, successful result. But you look at what Faringdon as a community is doing now. Everyone's in the same boat. Yeah. Everyone's sticking to the rules. Well, let's say 99% of the people are sticking to it. Yeah, most of them are. Yeah. And I've got to say, we've all got a challenge ahead of us, but I believe that word resilience is the key. Yes. And if everybody can dig deep, they stick to the rules, then we're going to come through this, and Faringdon will be the amazing town which it is and continue to be.
Fantastic. And Bethia and I were talking yesterday about, an amazing party, which we hope, might come at the end of all of this. And it would be great to bring everybody together at that stage. So, Al, I think, unless, is there anything that any message that you need to put out? Is there any extra help you need with the group? Have you got enough volunteers?
Well, that's a great question, Sarah. If I was to give a sales pitch to what Faringdon Viral Kindness is doing is, please, ladies and gentlemen, please stick to what you're doing now. If you've got a friend or a family who can support you and they can do this safely, please stick to what you're doing, because you know it's working. Faringdon Viral Kindness are there only when you have got no other alternative. Yeah. You've heard 170 or it's been a phenomenal amount of people have phoned us, but we understand over the next few weeks that things are going to become more challenging. I beg to you, please stick to what you're doing now safely, and only use us if you require us as a I don't like to say the last resort, but we are one string in your bow, that we're there to help you, and let's come through this together.
Well, that's an amazing message, and a really important one to end on, I think, today. So on behalf of everybody in Faringdon, thank you to you and your team of volunteers. I don't know who came up with the name for the group, but I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I'll keep that quiet. I won't. It was another team effort. There we are. It was...
And yes, the message to lead, to finish on is stay indoors, protect the NHS, stay safe.
Totally.
And best wishes to you and all of your team of volunteers. And thank you for your time, Al.
My pleasure, Sarah. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.